Hi, I'm Kevin Mitnick, and you're watching Hak5.
Welcome to Hak5. I'm your host, Darren.
And I'm your host, Wes.
And this is lucky episode number 7.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Because it just so happened that we've released 13 different episodes of content.
Well, 13 releases. They're not all episodes, but yeah.
So
this could be unlucky? I don't think so.
I think we'll just split the difference and call it even.
Sounds good to me.
Anyway, so we've got a power-packed episode for you, kind of. Darren is bringing us a way to encrypt your VNC connection through SSH.
It's going to be awesome. So you won't need to worry about Harrison getting in there and listening to traffic.
Wreaking havoc.
Yes. And Wes is going to be doing a hack/mod kind of. You're just going to have to wait for the next segment and check that out. And we are so stoked. Okay.
Oh, man.
What is faster than a speeding bullet?
Stronger than a speeding locomotive.
And can leap tall buildings in a single bound.
If you answered Superman, you are 100% correct.
This is awesome. Got an email from Amber Mac today, and I was just flipped out totally because
right here on
issue number 648
of the Amazing Adventures of Superman. This is the Superman comic that's been running for a long, long time.
And this makes me so happy because down here on page, there isn't page numbers.
There aren't page numbers.
But about halfway down, I see a Command N logo.
Oh, wait, what's this on the back of this hat
totally
in the center?
Hak5, yes.
Hak5. Apparently there's an animator over at DC that loves independent media, and apparently he likes us.
So we love DC now. That's good stuff.
Yes, I've always liked DC.
Dude, totally. I mean, DC's Superman, you could... Let's not get into the Superman-Batman debate because
I wasn't about to. I was just going to say Batman's part of DC, too.
Really? I feel schooled. I really thought he was Marvel.
Marvel's all the mutants.
Oh, like the X-Men.
X-Men, Fantastic Four, X-Factor.
Well, I stand corrected.
You definitely stand. So anyway.
Not very well right now. You see, Wes decided that it would be a good idea when we went out for dinner this evening to twist my arm and force us to have some... What were they?
His idea.
Come on, it wasn't my idea. He forced me.
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyway, we had 2 shots of buttery nipple.
And what is in that drink?
That is butterscotch schnapps and Bailey's Irish cream.
Sounds tasty, and it really was. And if you're of legal drinking age and you're part of the world, go ahead and enjoy it because we sure did.
Oh yes, and we shall enjoy some more.
It's his birthday tomorrow. So send your happy birthday email to wes@hak5.org. I'm going to get off the stool here.
Please do. So shall we do what we do?
Let's do it well.
And let's jump right on into my mod segment. Enjoy. Okay, so you might have seen this floating around on the internet. CVS has started marketing these new disposable digital cameras, both still and video. And they run about $15 American dollars for the stills and about $30 for the video. Problem is, everything about them is proprietary. You have to take it back to CVS, have them pull the pictures or the data off of them, put them on CD for you, and give them back. That's another like an $11 charge. So you're looking at like $30 or $40 just to get about 25 pictures. That, my friends, is a rip-off. Alright, so there are some geeks out there that agreed with me, and they discovered how to make these cameras reusable using some custom-made software, some tools they've programmed, and USB. Here's your list of supplies. You're going to need a USB female B connector, soldering iron, solder, a multimeter, a Dremel, and some hot glue. Okay, before you take anything apart, what you're going to have to do is find out what firmware version your camera's running. You do this by holding down the shutter button and the display button at the same time, and then hitting the on button. It'll come up on the LCD what firmware version you're using. Ours was using 6550, and that's what all this is based off of. If you're running 6520, you're lucky, because that's a lot easier. Okay, now that you know what the firmware is, you can go ahead and disassemble the camera. There's 3 screws in the back and a bunch of locking tabs all around it. Now, take all the screws out, and when you're popping the lock tabs, be careful. You need to save them. Try not to break them as much as possible. Once you open it up, you'll see the board in front of you with the LCD, and on the left-hand side, you'll see the proprietary connection that CVS uses, and we're going to be soldering leads onto that lead to our USB connector. Okay, we'll have a picture in the show notes telling you where pin 1 is on this proprietary connector, and we're going to be using pins 6, 7, 8, and 9. Pin 6 is your positive 5 volt USB, pin 7 is the USB ground, pin 8 is your USB positive data, and pin 9 is USB negative data. Okay, first of all, now that you have it open, find a place that's going to be convenient for you to mount the USB female connector. Then from there, you just follow the pinout diagram on the connector and solder accordingly to those proprietary pins. Okay, now that you have all your connections made and your plug is mounted, just figure out where it's going to be on the case, draw a little marker on it, use your Dremel and cut out a hole so that way it's nice and tucked away, it doesn't look bad, and you've got easy access. From there, go ahead and take the board, mount it back to 1/2 of the cover so you still have access to the back panel, snug it up, because now we're going to move on to software and we still need access to that board. Okay, so now we can go ahead and start gathering all our tools, software tools that we're going to need to do this. First off is going to be the PV2 tool 2.13, the libUSB Win32 filter bin 0.1.8.0, and the libUSB Win32 bin 0.1.8.0. From here we can go ahead and install the libUSB device bins and the filter bins. Now once they're installed, gain access to the libusb.inf file, and you have to add strings for 27, 28, 2B, 2F, and 30. We'll have the full string line in the show notes for you. Now we can go ahead and run the PV2 tool, and you just plug the USB cable in to the connection you made and your computer. Now with that board exposed, please be careful and avoid the flash capacitor. That's 200 to 300 volts. It's going to zap you hard. Now with PV2 tool running and the USB cable connected between the camera and the computer, go ahead and click open in PV2 tool. Hopefully you'll see PID 27 if you're using the CVS red camera. Find the RAM module behind the LCD, starting on the bottom pin, count up to the 6th one. Take the probe from your multimeter, bridge pins 6 and 7. While they're still bridged, unplug the USB cable, wait a few seconds, plug it back in. Hopefully you'll hear 2 death beeps. They're very distinct. You'll know what they are. If you did, great. We can move on. If you didn't, just lather, rinse, repeat until you do. At this point, I'm assuming that you've heard the 2 death beeps. Go ahead and unbridge 6 and 7 on the RAM. Click open in the PV2 tools, and then find your SD-RAM key scan. What that's going to do is scan the keys in the firmware and pull them down. Then click unlock. This is going to unlock the camera so that in future uses we don't have to go through this process every time. Okay, at this point we can't take you any farther. We have this crazy little thing in America called the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, which forbids this. But the software will walk you through it. You're like 99% of the way there now, so don't fret. We'll have links in the show notes that'll take you to all the pertinent information that's hopefully not on American servers. But there you go. That's how you hack the red CVS camera. All your pertinent information, links in the show notes. Thanks a lot. Okay, next up is our viewer questions. And first off, we have Jay, and he's asking us about batch files, more specifically for defragging, and he wants to know if he can run a batch file to defrag on multiple disks at the same time, or do you need to set up a batch file for each individual disk?
Okay, you don't actually have to set up a batch file for each individual disk, but I would really not recommend defragging multiple disks at the same time, especially not if there are partitions on the same disk.
That's just really, really system intensive.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it. It's just not a good thing to do.
It's hard on the disk itself.
Truly. So what you really just need to do is take the code that we shared last month and just add at the end of the batch file that you've scheduled with the add command to, it's defrag, C drive, whatever.
D drive, E drive, yeah.
D drive, E drive, etc. And then as the batch file progresses and defrags those individual drives, it'll go on to the next one.
Right.
Pretty simple.
Okay, so you can just kind of append.
Yeah.
All right.
Now Scott writes, I'm running multiple monitors, and every time I open up Firefox, it's appearing in my second screen. I want it to appear in my primary monitor. Is there a way to force it to do so? Yeah. Okay, that's actually kind of like I don't know if it's a feature or a bug. Microsoft calls them all the same thing.
The Easter egg.
Sure.
Like Control, delete.
Yeah. Well, which Bill made famous. And
with the NT log on.
Of course, that's what he was talking about.
Sure.
And basically, what you need to do is just drag your Firefox over to the screen or the position or really anywhere that you want it to open every time you click the Firefox icon. And hold down the Control key and click the X in the top right to close it. And every time you open it ever since then, it will always open in the same location.
No matter what.
Yeah. Holding down Control and hitting X says, hey, Windows, next time I open this application, put it right here.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a useful tip.
It is. It's, that's the way it works. So,
up next is Lazareth, I believe is how you pronounce that.
Sure.
It's like trying to pronounce Mike Laz's last name.
Mike Lazazar.
Lazazara.
Latzazara? I can't remember.
Anyway, beside the point. Another batch script question. This particular guy wants to know if he can set up a batch script to kill a process at a certain time. He's got bandwidth issues where he's got like peak bandwidth and off time bandwidth.
Like the Australians?
It's like a cell phone kind of thing. And his torrents are killing him.
Okay, so he's like running his torrents at night, but at a certain time he needs to close those torrents so that he's not killing his, on peak usage bandwidth.
Exactly.
Okay, well, we covered this in episode 2, and really the easiest way to do that command line is to just kill the process. You can do that a couple of ways. The easiest way with Windows XP is using the command task kill. You can find more information about the task kill command, the address at the bottom of the screen, and that's very similar to a program that we used in episode 2, which is called PS Kill. It's from sysinternals. You can find that at sysinternals.com. It's a great little utility. You can schedule both of those using the @ command, which we've covered before, and that will allow you to run a specific batch file at a certain time. And if you create a file that has, the command task kill or PS kill, the process ID or the file name,
right,
it will kill whatever torrent client you're using, whether it be Azarus or ABC or uTorrent
BitLord or whatever,
or even the BitTorrent official client.
Right.
So that'll close your torrents, and that'll get that done. Just schedule it.
You can actually use that reciprocally, where you can use it to shut it down and then start the process again.
Yeah, you can write a batch file to start it again by just opening up the file name.
Right, so he can always have it set up so his BitTorrents run on the off-peak hours.
And that would be great for a lot of our Australian viewers that have to deal with those bandwidth issues in off-peak and on-peak hours.
Right. So if any of you have any questions, please feel free to send them our way. That's questions@hak5.org. And we'll answer you the best we can, and if it's a really, really good question that we think should be shared with others, we'll go over it on the show.
Great. Now, coming up next, I'm going to be taking a look at ways to secure your VNC connections using SSH, but before then,
I think we're going to take a commercial break.
Word from our sponsors. I was editing this online TV show on an AMD-based PC. It wasn't slow like those dull Intel machines. But then when I saw the new G5 Macintosh with a PowerPC chip, I just knew I had to have it, so I started using Final Cut Pro, and it just screamed with that PowerPC chip, not like those dull Intels. Then I heard about that new Macintosh, 4 to 5 times faster. I was doing this big video job and I had like this crazy deadline. So I ran out and got one as soon as I could. It's like fast. Like really, really fast. Okay, so I can't run Final Cut Pro now, but it's got iMovie and an iSight. Well, it scrolls like butter. My name's Darren Kitchen and I'm a video producer. Sorta.
So, last month's trivia question was, in 1904, the Koch curve, one of the earliest fractal curves, appeared in what paper? That was correctly answered by Beamer who wrote, it appeared in a 1904 paper entitled Sir Un...
No, don't even try.
Not gonna try.
It's actually at the bottom of the screen. If you can pronounce it, that's awesome. Call the Hak5 hotline and let us know. I think it's Swedish. I'm not sure. That number is, of course, 206-338-HAK5. This month's trivia question, though,
kicks back to episode 4.5.
4.5.
4.5. That's where I did the Steadicam. Well, yeah, it was Steadicam. Well, while I was setting up, Darren was so kind as to turn the camera on and record me singing in a horrible, horrible voice that I have.
I'm always looking out for you, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
What we want to know is what song by what band was Wes singing when he didn't know the camera was on? Good stuff.
So, we want song title and band name.
And of course, you can always send those to the email address
at
trivia@hak5.org.
And?
So let's just go ahead and move on with the whole show thing that we do.
Right.
It's Wes's fault. He made me drink.
So recently we've been talking a lot about VNC, getting remote access to computers. Darren's done a network install of VNC on one of his computers, and then Harrison showed us how to take access of VNC session using a Metasploit. And we've also shown how insecure it is with simple tools like Cain Enable and Ethereal. But talking to Darren, he's told me about a way to secure it using SSH and tunneling.
Right. Now, VNC is inherently insecure. Okay, it does encrypt the password, but it's not very strong encryption.
Okay.
It can be easily cracked with tools such as Cain Enable, like you said. So what I'm going to do is use SSH and tunneling to secure that traffic.
So explain these things, VNC,
Okay.
SSH, and tunneling to me.
Now, if you're just tuning in, you haven't seen the previous segments on VNC. VNC is a remote desktop application. It's a piece of software that you install on a computer that you want to remotely connect to, and then using client software, you can connect to it, and it will allow you to see the display and interact with it with a mouse and keyboard. It's almost like being at the computer, but remotely. Now, SSH is a way to securely communicate with the server. It's normally used to get like shell access to a computer.
Like getting DOS on a Windows machine or Bash with Linux or something like that?
Exactly.
All right.
Right. But one of the cool things that SSH offers is tunneling. And what that allows us to do is take any normal TCP traffic and tunnel that through an SSH connection. It actually encapsulates those packets with encryption so that they're secure.
Okay. So what do we need to do to prepare our network for this?
Right. Okay, now if you want to connect to your machine over like your cable or DSL internet connection, the first thing you're going to want to do is actually port forward port 22 on your router. So that's simple as logging into your router and setting up port forwarding. The second thing you need to do is make sure that on the server, the machine that you want to remotely connect to, you open up port 22 on the firewall.
Okay. Commands for that?
Sure. Now in this example, we're using the Windows Service Pack 2 firewall, and that command to open port 22 would be netsh firewall add port opening TCP 22 SSH. Just enter in that in the command prompt, and that'll open that port up for us.
Okay.
Next thing we need to do is set up the actual SSH server. So I'm going to remotely connect to my machine that has the SSH server using VNC. So we're getting a little ahead, but I want to show something right here. And that is I'm running Cain Enable. And I'm going to show how Cain Enable will just sniff up that packet and show us his password. So we've turned on our sniffer in VNC, or in Cain Enable. We're going to open up VNC. And as you can see, I'm connecting to 192.168.1.139, the LAN IP address of the machine in the other room that we're going to connect to. So we'll enter in that, enter in our password, and here we are. We're on my machine in the Hak5 chat room. Well, let's take a look at the SSH software. What I'm using is a server. There's various SSH servers you can run. One of them that's very popular is called OpenSSH, and that will run on Mac, on Linux, on Windows. Since this is a Windows machine, like this package called FreeSSHD because it's lightweight, it's Windows native, and it just gets the job done really easily.
Okay, but there's still plenty out there that
there's
you can
plenty.
find.
Yes. So we've already installed the FreeSSHD server, and it's a really basic installation, and information on all the nitty-gritties in the show notes for that. So we'll open it up here, and as you can see, the SSH server is running. And what we had to do here is add users. So we go over to the Users tab, and we would click Add. We'd enter in a name, and in this case, for authorization, we'd want to store the password in the SHA-1 hash.
All right.
We'll give it a password, and normally we'd give it a more secure password, but for time, I'll go ahead and apply that. And as you can see,
yeah, what are all these different settings here?
Sure. Well, these checkboxes say that this user has access to the shell, in this case CMD, SFTP, which is just like FTP, but it's secure, and you'd use an SFTP client,
Nice.
and tunneling, and that's what's important. So we'll apply that, and then we'll save and hide this. That's all there is to it on
That was
the
easy.
SSH side. Now for the VNC, we're going to set up a VNC server. And we've touched on this last episode. There's several different flavors of VNC. My favorite is actually Tight VNC, and that's the one that I'm using right now. You can also use Real VNC, Ultra VNC, many others. So we'll go ahead and open up the VNC properties right here. And in Tight VNC, there's a button Advanced. And this is just the most important thing after you set up the VNC server. But we want to check this box. It says Allow Loopback Connections.
So why is that important?
Well, what this is it's allowing you to connect to the loopback, and there's a loopback on every computer, and what that is your local host or IP address 127.0.0.1. And what we have to do is tell VNC to let us connect to our machine from our machine. By default, it won't let you do that because why would you connect to your machine from your machine?
That makes no sense.
In this case, since we're using SSH, we're connecting to that machine, and we're going to tell it we want to connect to ourselves.
Okay.
It's just going to bring it to the other machine. So we just check that and hit OK. Now, if you're using another distribution, such as Real VNC, it's not as simple. You have to go into the registry, and there's a D-word value that you have to add, and that's in the show notes.
All right.
So we'll hit OK on that. And we're going to sign off of this VNC session. Now, that was the VNC session that was just done
over
in
the
plain,
TCP.
Yeah, not in plain text, but easily cracked. So as we can see here in Cain Enable, we actually have the hash right here.
Huh.
So all we have to do is right-click on this and say Send to Cracker. We go over to the cracker, and there's our VNC hash. We right-click on that, and I'm going to do a brute force attack. I'm going to click Start, and it should take just a moment.
There we go.
And there it is. So I'll click Exit, and
What
here
do
we
we
go.
have?
Password
Hak5.
Hak5. Yeah. So now let's do this again, keeping the sniffer running, this time using SSH.
All right.
So the next step is on the client side, we need an SSH client. And there's various SSH clients. The particular one that I enjoy is called Putty. It's because it's really lightweight, it's Windows native, it gets the job done. So we're going to open up this, and we need to specify two things. First is the host name. And in this point, since we're already on the LAN, it would be the LAN IP address of the other computer. If we were doing this over the internet, it would be the public IP address of our router, and since we port forwarded port 22, it'll allow us to connect to that machine.
Okay.
Or if you've got a Dyn DNS, you could use that.
Yeah.
So in this case, it's 192.168.1.139, and then we'll head over to tunnels down here. What we need to do is, for the source port, add 5900, and the destination port, 127.0.0.1:5900. We click Add, and then Open. Now it's connected to the machine, and
What's
it
all
said,
this?
well, what it's saying here is that we haven't connected to this machine before, or the key fingerprint of that SSH server isn't in our registry. We haven't cached it.
Okay.
It's going to ask us, do we trust this machine? I know that's my machine, so I'm going to trust it. I'm going to click Yes, and it won't ask me subsequently now.
So it's on your computer now and won't just go back to that.
So now we just need to log in with the credentials that we've set up in the free SSHD server. So in this case, username is Ardwolf. I'll enter in my password. And there we go.
Yeah.
I've got shell access, but I don't technically need shell access.
Yeah,
I want to
you want the
interact with
VNC.
I want to interact with some of my programs on my computer that don't have shell commands. So we'll go ahead and open up Tight VNC, and remember we port mapped 5900 to 127.0.0.1. So we'll open up that local host in VNC Viewer, give it the password, and there we go. And we're in the chat. Hello, guys. So let's minimize this and head back over
Cain?
to Cain Enable.
Yeah.
And look, it hasn't seen it. That's just the hash from
that's the
last
old
time.
one.
We haven't.
no new ones.
Well, that's the cracker. Hang on. Let's head over to Sniffer. Passwords. Nope. We still only have one hash from when we did it previously.
Yeah.
And this is really just fundamentals that will work with any kind of protocol. Now, there's various SSH servers, there's various SSH clients, and you can do more than just VNC encapsulation. You can, just about anything you could encapsulate with the SSH and secure. For example, a few episodes ago we talked about streaming music, and my favorite way to do that was over Apache. And I was running an Apache server with port 8080. I could just add port 8080, port map it, do the same exact thing, and my MP3s would be secure. Like, I mean, it's going to add some overhead though, because it's got to add the encapsulation and the extra headers. So it's not really great for streaming. It's not really good for
trying to play a game through it or something.
I wouldn't even bother. No. But it is great for stuff like VNC or any other server interaction type stuff.
Thanks, Darren.
No problem.
For showing us that. Written up a detailed article?
Yeah, I've got all the info you need to do to set up the servers and the clients. All the nitty-gritty details are in the show notes.
Awesome. So that'll be on the Hak5 website in the forums?
Exactly.
Awesome. And if you'd like to leave any feedback or have any questions, please feel free to post them on the forums.
We're going to go ahead and do something a little different this episode and take a look at some of the viewer-submitted content that we've been receiving.
And it's actually been some really, really good stuff, and we've happened to pick out our two personal favorites out of the group.
Definitely. My favorite, of course, being war hopping. I mean, we all know what war driving is.
War driving, war flying.
War chalking, war flying. I mean, if you've got a pogo stick and a Wi-Fi card, you could be war hopping too. But this guy took it to an extreme level.
This was crazy.
So let's go ahead and take a look at that. As you can see, looks like a iPack or some sort of a pocket PC.
With a wireless card in it.
Oh, and there he goes.
And there it goes.
Yeah, that looks like a very happy bunny, doesn't it?
Yeah, you can actually see some kind of like net stumbler or something running on it.
Could be mini stumbler.
Yeah.
And it's booking. I mean, if you had a whole massive herd of bunnies, and you like sent them all over the neighborhood, they'd come back, throw some GPS on it. That'd be awesome.
You'd have to because you couldn't find them.
Yeah, well, that's true. Maybe they'd have to have, I guess, Wi-Fi, GPS, and some sort of a CDMA modem so that it could actually send the information back to you. A little dog tag. If found, please send this war hopper back to...
Alright, the war hopping was pretty cool, and that was thanks to Fox.
Yeah, awesome.
Alright, well, my personal favorite out of the group was Halo 2 Hacked.
Yeah, this is by Chuck and John, and they're from consoleathletics.com. And this is from, well, let's just roll the video and then I'll explain it.
Yeah, this is so cool. If we're watching this right now, and if you look in one frame, we've got on the bottom right is the actual plane. What's the plane in Halo called?
Oh, I don't remember. But basically, the Warthog. That's the.
Well, I'm saying, but you can see it. Like that's the normal plane right there. But then the other
with the Warthog.
Yeah, now you've got these Warthogs doing the same maneuvers.
It's like acrobatics, yeah. Well, they explained that basically what they did was they used this program called ADI, and it lets you edit the metadata and change the values.
Edit the metadata?
Edit the metadata. Something like that. It lets you change the values, and you can inject your own stuff. It's very similar to, I don't know if you remember back in the days of Doom 2, there was a program called Hacked, where you could mess with all the variables, and all of a sudden you could turn the BFG into the plasma rifle.
Really?
And shoot 1,000 bullets a second or whatever.
Wow.
Yeah, that was some crazy stuff.
That's crazy.
It lets you change the values and inject them back into the map folder. Okay, of course this only runs on a hacked Xbox. And
yeah, it has to be modded.
Right. And they, what they have to do is FTP it back up, and they have to create kind of a faked digital certificate that makes it look like it was signed by Bungie. So really interesting.
Wow.
They gave us some links to, if you're interested in doing something like that, some links to get you started with that, and that would be files.halomods.com and xbox-hq.com.
So we really appreciate that awesome content.
Yeah, great work, Chunk and John. Chuck and John.
Chunk and John.
Chunk and John.
Chuck and John.
Chunk and John.
If anybody else out there has any kind of content they'd like us to see and possibly have aired, you feel free to send it to us at info@hak5.org.
One of those.
Something.
You asked for it, and finally it's here. Finally. Hak5 hits iTunes. Be the first to send a picture of Hak5 running on an iPod, and we'll send you an autographed copy of Superman issue 648. That just about wraps up this episode of Hak5, and I'm going to go ahead and just say thank you so much to everybody that's been seeding our torrents, especially our Australian viewers that have limited bandwidth.
The effort from the land down under has been amazing. You
guys
guys have been so supportive. We thank you for everything you've done.
Totally, like 30% of our viewers. You guys are awesome, dude. If we could ever like scrunch up some money to come down and visit you guys, totally would. Wes was going to make some lame joke about Foster's, but I convinced him not to. And we're just going to
you can go ahead and take the credit for... Anyway.
We're going to give you a shout out and say thanks so much. Now, Wes is going to break some news about some other project thing. But first, I'd actually like to pose a question to everybody. And this is because I can't find it. I've been Googling my heart out looking for a video called XHS. It's done by Captain Emmy, the administrator of LMSDC.
LickMySweaty.com.
If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's called Extreme High School. And it's an awesome, hilarious video circa 2000, 2001.
Yeah, somewhere in that area. Might have been like 99-ish.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. But
I can't remember exactly either. But look, if y'all have it, please send it our way. If you have XHS, porno combat,
or
the FPS
3D
in real
real
life, yeah, 3D
FPS thing. Yeah, send that to us. It doesn't matter. Hak5@gmail.hak5.wes.
Don't hurt yourself. Wes at hak5.org, Darren at hak5.org.
Info, questions, trivia. It doesn't matter.
Whatever. It doesn't matter. Just please
take it to us.
get it
I've
our
been
way
looking for
if
this
you have it. We've been
forever.
looking for
It would be awesome. Mad brownie points if you can get it to us. It's kind of a nostalgia thing. So I actually wouldn't break down and ask the audience if I really, could find it on my own. But no, it's nowhere.
Anyway,
so, Captain Emmy, if you're watching, send it to us.
Oh yeah. Next, this right here is the owner's manual for.
I can't believe it has an owner's manual.
I know it's ridiculous, or game manual as they call it, but this thing's an owner's manual for World of Warcraft. Why would I be holding this, Darren?
Because Darren decided to go off on a tangent, get another side project, and become addicted to an MMO, which I never thought I would do.
But I'm playing along beside you, so you're not alone.
Yeah, he's a level 9 something.
Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's
but
fine.
anyway, but the side project that Darren's working on is off of MMOradio.com, and he's working with the absolutely awesome Jen Cutter from OpenAlpha.tv.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a weekly live radio show on MMOradio.com as well as a podcast. And if you're into MMOs, if you're into RPGs, if you're just into
Open Alpha
or anything,
Hak5, whatever.
Yeah, dude, totally check this
Tune
out.
in.
This is going to be
It comes
awesome.
in we premiere on the 5th.
Yeah, we're going to be doing the pilot episode on the 5th of February. Oh, hey. If you're actually watching this on the premiere date of Hak5, you're in for a treat because at 7 o'clock PST, which would be 10 o'clock Eastern
EST.
Time, which would be -5 GMT, figure it out.
Blah, blah, blah,
It
blah.
would be, so happy to have you guys join us, and that's MMOradio.com. Click on the listen link, and we will definitely be hanging out there. Oh, and then after the show, we're all going to hit up Warcraft on Storm Rage.
Yes.
And I'm
On
Arlwolf,
Storm Rage
that's
realm.
Dankus Wess, and I guess we'll ask Jen if she wants to give out her name.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a blast. So
It's
if
gonna be
you're
a whole lot of
into
fun.
online role-playing games, totally check us out.
And one more thing is, MMO Radio does not think we can crash their servers.
Dude!
You guys have killed us.
Yes, seriously,
Killed us on
bandwidth, please! Now, hopefully Libsyn will take care of that. If you got good download speeds, that's awesome. If you didn't, please kick us an email, let us know. We're actually really monitoring this stuff. We want to give you the best video experience possible.
So anyway, with all that said, thank you for all your support. Keep seeding those torrents. Keep getting those downloads.
Of course, you can always contact us. That's Wess at Hak5.org.
Darren at Hak5.org.
You can also leave us a voicemail at the Hak5 hotline. That would be 206-338-HAK5.
So until
Or the
next month.
IRC.
Or the IRC, excuse me. IRC.techfile.ca #Hak5.
We do that too well.
Yes. So that's all your ways to get a hold of us. So until next month, I'm Wes.
I'm Darren.
Trust your technolust.
Man, that was bad. That was so bad, dude.
Let me
Let's just
intro
cut it.
this.
You want to take this?
Yeah, let me
I'm
start it.
I'm
We're still
bombing.
We're still rolling.
You made me drink too much.
You'll be alright.
It's your fault.
You'll be alright. And just remember, Foster's is Australian for beer.
Don't do that. I can't believe you did that. No, you did not do that. Jen Cutter from Open Alpha and
Open Alpha?
Open Alpha.
Open Alpha.
That TV. I'm using my words. It's
Congratulations.
like wow. It's a feeling.
Yeah. You can't fold straight. Hold on.
I can fold straight enough. You made me drink tonight, bastard.
It appeared in a 1904 paper entitled...
Entitled?
Entitled.
Entitled.
I'm tired.
I'm tired too because you made me drink too much.
You'll be alright. That's gotta be like the worst paper airplane I've ever seen in my life.
That's a quality paper airplane.
So, last month...
That's with the words, it's English. We
Use
speak
your
it.
words.
Come on, Wess.
Use your
You can
words.
do it.
I can do it.
Okay.
I got this. I've had just as much, if not more, to drink than you have. How come I can fold better than you?
Because you're a noob. Beep. Whoosh. 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 My level tons.
No whammies. Dead bunnies. Stop. Look at this.
That's a quality. No.
Right there.
No. This is where it's
Right.
This is where it's at.
Nope. We love you guys.
I just totally bombed. I'm like, my head, it just went away. I have no idea what. Come on, man.
We want to send a huge shout out to our Australian viewers.
Words.
Use
They
them.
work better when you.
Yours?
I can peg the lens.
Go for it. Not gonna happen.
Oh,
So much
deflected.
closer than yours.
Right, you just hit the audio receiver. Last month's trivia question was in 1904. Ow, damn it! I'm sorry, Hacklings. We decided to join a guild and play World of Warcraft. I guess that means that you'll never see us again online.
No.
Such a shame, because Hak5 I thought had potential.
I did too.
Could have been a good show.
It could have been. It could
But
have been.
We're gone.
We're done for.
Yeah. World of Warcraft.
I need to level up my warlock.
Yeah, we're gonna grind for the rest of our lives.
No matter what.
And we're gonna buy lots, and we're just gonna get lots of linen.
Yeah.
Sell it at the auction house. Go buy it.
To contribute to the war effort.
Yeah, because we care about profiteering.
Thank you, Jen. You've showed us the way.